Who's that voice? That voice sounds very familiar.
It's Brandon Harris.
Wow. It has been a while.
It has been a long time, sir.
Really long time. You're in Memphis? It looks like a hotel.
I'm in Memphis, Tennessee right now for the 24th Indie Memphis Film Festival.
In what capacity are you?
I've had so many different capacities surrounding Indie Memphis. I've been a Indie Memphis filmmaker, award-winning filmmaker. I've been the program director of Indie Memphis. I've been on the jury. And this year I spoke to the Black Creators Forum, which is one of the festival's, maybe the festival's primary talent development initiative. And was the least of the illustrious speakers at this year's Black Creators. Are definitely bringing up the rear in terms of some of the heavy hitters that Miriam Bale has been able to put together. Barry Jenkins, Ashley Clark, and my new business partner Shaka King all spoke very eloquently.
You said Barry Jenkins, Shaka, and who else?
Ashley Clark.
Okay.
The great programmer and writer,
right?
Editorial director of Criterion Collection.
This lighting is very dramatic.
Oh yeah, no, I have it's a beautiful Thursday morning here in Memphis, and I get there's some morning light trickling in.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. I mean, you probably have films you could be going to see, right? I mean.
As in my years at the festival, the Wednesday and Thursday nights are, kind of primarily for the local audiences. Although Red Rocket, Sean Baker's movie, was last night, and who wouldn't want to see Red Rocket? Whoever you are.
What was that?
I suppose there are plenty of people actually don't want to see Red Rocket, given it's about a porn star, but it's a remarkable movie.
Noted.
Very much worth anyone's time. Anyone's 128 minutes. But yeah. So generally speaking, the filmmakers and the industry start to show up over the weekend. But the Wednesday night and the closing night are all often very local centric.
Right. So there's a little bit, in other words, a little bit more casual today, this morning, and this afternoon.
Yeah. Things are. I think that there are maybe 4 screenings this evening, and then tomorrow it expands, and there's screenings, all day.
Gotcha. And are there? Did it feel like there's a bunch of people there?
Well, I think opening night was well attended. Sellout. Although not every seat was filled, because a sellout in our COVID times is perhaps different.
Oh, sure, right. Socially distanced sellout.
Remembered sellouts to be in our youth, in the before times. But no, it was very well attended, including by a longtime Indie Memphis board member and Coming to America and Dolomite is my name director, Craig Brewer, who was quite fond of the movie. Sean's movie, and I think it played for a really eager and excited house.
How did you, an avid festival goer and enthusiast, how did you cope during the last year or so, where obviously there wasn't much going on by way of festivals, at least in person?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'd gotten used to it in my years at Amazon. I was very rarely allowed to go to film festivals. I had to lie to go to film festivals and stuff.
Oh, really? Because, right, you were.
That's not necessarily true. I got to cover Tribeca and actually buy some movies out of Tribeca for us, and Berlin as well. But the type of smaller regional festivals that I as a journalist, took a special pleasure in covering, and then later, here in Memphis had a hand in running, were generally the type of things I was told not to spend my time on. And so if I wanted to go to, say, the Dallas Film Festival or the Sidewalk Film Festival or something, I'd have to invent some reason, which was I'm on a jury, or so and so we're developing something with, and I would go see this, or But oftentimes it was really I'm just inventing reasons to find some way to go. And so yeah, I did very much miss that, as I think many of us did in the independent film community during the pandemic. And yet, it's funny. I like to tell people I never miss an Indie Memphis. I think the last one I didn't attend in person was 2015, and that includes last year when I drove across the country and attended the mostly virtual but slightly in-person and drive-through Indie Memphis at the Malco Summer Drive.
That's impressive. Yeah, and that's when I had Miriam on last year doing this. I can't believe it's a year ago, but I just time seemed to get away, and I've been trying to make a special effort to talk to as many film festivals that are out there that are doing good work, which there are so many, of course, but but it would be great to be able to have gotten to Indy Memphis. But maybe next year it'll have to be, what number will it be? 30.
Next year will be the 25th year, so
it's a good time to
big
go.
one,
Anniversary.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. 25th anniversary. Maybe I'll finally get to the Indy Memphis. Yeah, I have not been there. No, I haven't gone. So.
Well, it's a hard city to forget. I think of Memphis as a.
I've been to Memphis, but I just haven't been to. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, haven't been to the festival. Yeah. Well, not every festival gets to be part of such a historic and haunted and fun city as Memphis does.
Yeah. Oh no, what a great history. Just to avoid Beale Street at any cost, right? They're probably nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like like first thing in the morning and no one's there. Yeah, I think it's often
exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, so tell me, you mentioned a little while ago the initiative with Shaka, the project you guys are working on. So that was my excuse to kind of finally reach out, extend an invitation to finally do something again here. So do you want to talk about what you guys are doing?
Yeah. So we actually just launched a company called I'd Watch That. That is, a production entity for film and television both. And we plan to work in both spaces. Certainly, as was part of the various trade and announcements and articles about our new shop. We have a deal at FX Networks, which we think is a great partner for us, given our sensibilities as artists. And I can't say that I have consumed a lot of contemporary television, and yet when I think back on the things that I have been compelled to watch, a fair amount of them, perhaps the majority, seem to have been on FX over the last few years, whether it's Atlanta or something like The People versus O.J. Simpson, which I just thought was so remarkable. So yeah, we're excited to be there and to be working with them, at least over the next couple of years. And we already have some pretty exciting projects that we're soon to take out into the world, which I would be remiss to discuss in too much detail here.
Sure. But are you saying they're in development still, or are they actually got legs now, or?
These are mostly things in development. Obviously we announced earlier this summer a project that Shaka is developing about political insurrection, which was, I think received in a certain way, but I think that when the movie finally surfaces, I think it will surprise people, both its tone and some of the things it's actually about. We certainly hope to produce the works of filmmakers we really admire, who are making the kind of ideologically bold, aesthetically unusual, subversive projects that we really love. So, yeah.
Shaka was on. I was going to look and remember how far back. Newlyweds when that happened, when that came out.
I think that was 2013, right?
I think you're right. I think it's around there.
Yeah.
And I was also looking back into the bunch of times that you came on very early on. You were a really early, how do you describe, supporter and just proponent of the show.
And longtime listener of the show, even though I haven't had the opportunity to make an appearance since before my jump shot went away and my beard started going gray. But
I don't know how, when I met you, you were, I remember meeting you the first time, even because I remember reading you in Filmmaker magazine and your name coming up all the time as I was just sort of kind of getting myself, comfortable and or just familiar with the independent film scene in New York myself, and your name would always come up. And then remember, I hosted some sort of DVD release party. I can't remember for which film anymore, but I remember your being there and introducing yourself, and I'm like, finally meet Brandon Harris. And then I think it must have been around the time I started the podcast, or it was still an internet radio show in that little storage.
Yeah, in the same building that the IFP used to be based before it became.
Yeah, but you remember before that? I don't know. You were in the original storage container. Remember that? It was.
Yes. Yeah, I recall that. Yeah, absolutely. Not far from where the Alamo Drafthouse Brooklyn is now.
The exact same property.
Yeah.
I mean, location. I should say it's right.
So that was a huge storage container. Recording studio. Yeah.
No, that was my favorite place. I wish it was still there. I mean, I would probably be. I'd probably be still recording out of it.
I feel like that was like the heyday of like container unit or storage unit recording studio.
Culture.
Around that same time, I might have helped. Maybe not the same exact time. Maybe a couple of years before, I had helped a friend of mine, Andy Katz. Not the Andy Katz who stars in Red Legs, but another Andy Katz. I know.
They're more than one.
They're more than one. Yeah.
Okay.
Just, you just can't get rid of them. But I had helped Andy Katz, who's a gaffer and a grip, and sort of like a real life version of Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction. If like you really need something done, like you needed some dirty work done, you call
the non-Red Legs Andy Katz.
Yeah, he'll make a body disappear. But he ended up for some reason building the recording container unit behind the restaurant Roberta's.
Where's that?
In Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Very popular pizza restaurant.
Okay.
And I don't think that's even there anymore. Like that they probably, that was in the garden that they would serve outdoor meals in long before sitting outside seemed like it could be a life or death choice. And you could just kind of like watch someone record a radio show from their backyard while you're eating pizza. But I quickly think that went away. But I remember it just being such an awesome space and feeling like, there's someone should be running a radio station out there 24/7.
True. And I really, really enjoyed that period of time where it was called the DeKalb Market. And, but it too had replaced, a prior, structure, I suppose, right? The mall was there on that same property before that, which had a lot of history to it. I'm trying to remember the name of the mall now, which is pretty embarrassing, but do you remember?
I don't, but I can visualize it.
Okay. Well, it's kind of gone back to being a mall again, kind of coincidentally, but it's now city, not City Point, obviously, that's the stadium. But anyway.
Well, there's City Field, but I think it actually might be called
City Point. No, it is City Point. So it is City Point, right? City Field is the stadium, rather. I would call it City Field. I got so used to mislabeling it City Field that I now think when I call it the right name, I'm still.
Well, nothing will ever have the iconic ring as Shea Stadium. That you kind of want to spiritually call City Field Shea Stadium, and then you realize that it isn't.
Right. Yeah, and I grew up minutes from Shea Stadium, so I have been to City Field on one occasion since.
Well, there was a period, I feel like, around the time Occupy Wall Street happened, which is not too distant of a part of the past. It's the one we're talking about, where I used to refer to Citi Field as Bailout Ballpark.
Bailout Park, ballpark.
But
did you have a nickname for what about the arena in Brooklyn?
oh yeah, that awful arena
Barclay,
they built,
the Barclays
Fort
Center.
Green. Yeah, I don't think I have a great nickname for it. I'm sure someone does. I like how it's kind of rusted out, though. You know, that
Oh,
sort
is
of
it really?
really rusty look. It's sort of cool looking. It's sort of aesthetically grown on me, even as it's still completely unnecessary and such a blight.
There's something about that particular, job, that particular project going up, which sort of really was in a way the fait accompli for Brooklyn. I feel like, after that, there's sort of the benchmark. There's like before that, and then there's after. What Brooklyn.
Well, who was the filmmaker that made that really
Galinsky?
remarkable? Michael Galinsky made Battle for Brooklyn, right?
Yeah,
that was called. Yeah, no, that was a really interesting documentary.
And David Bailinson, his producer. Yeah. Well, yeah, Michael is a good friend, really good friend, and they since moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a long time ago, but they've been out there for like 10 years. But I just invited him on because I was trying to get a lot of the original folks like yourself who came on the show to help celebrate 10 years of doing the show. And so I had to bring Michael. I think he was my guest number 2 in that storage container. But Battle for Brooklyn was like, there were multiple screenings, and like I was just, that part of my life, at that time was just, the Battle for Brooklyn was so much part of that equation, at the time. So a lot of really, mostly good memories, even though it's kind of a difficult thing, for people that really have a strong affection, a great affection for Brooklyn, and maybe less so for how it's evolved.
Well, it's funny. I wrote a book that came out in 2017 about the gentrification of Bed-Stuy, among many other things. I think its concerns are much wider than that, but that's how we sold it, and
okay, right.
and in that book, I think I have a line in there where I say something like, I've just run into my ex-roommate, right? Who's told me he's moving to California because he's just tired of getting priced out of neighborhood. He's been in Bed-Stuy for so long, and it's so beautiful, and he doesn't want to leave. And he sees people getting priced out, and he's next, and he doesn't want to move somewhere and start over in Brooklyn and price other people out so that he can eventually be priced out.
Yeah.
And I have this line where I'm like, I'm staying, I'm not reading the writing on the wall, like this sort of thing, this very strident, like Joan, this is no Joan Didion, goodbye to all that, and literally not 4 months after that book came out, I joined Ted Hope's team at Amazon and moved to
San Francisco, was it? Or
well, he was in San Francisco for many years, but this was in Los Angeles.
Oh, you were right. Okay. Are you not there anymore?
Well, I left Amazon. I'm still in Los Angeles, but I'm no longer employed there. But yeah, no, I am maintaining a base in Southern California for now.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll be back a lot more often now. I make my own schedule.
I'm not even in New York. I've become my own sort of version of a hermit. So don't. Like I wouldn't know if you were back in New York or how often anyway, because I have one thing. I kind of go down. I spend time with my kid or the particular woman, and that's kind of, then I'm back out.
I feel like the habit of going to the movies is one that has not fully died away, but I have felt it shift in a certain respect, where I assume the availability of most things at home. So my desire to go out is almost entirely predicated on the rareness of the thing. Which is to say, when I go see
Ah,
movies these days, I see a lot of repertory movies. And there's actually a great,
in
this is
theater?
like a golden age for repertory cinemas in Los Angeles right now that we're entering, or literally entering right now at the end of the pandemic.
Okay, and it does have that history.
Well, yeah, but I think for many years, like, you know, people would move from New York and they'd be like, oh, how am I going to see an old movie? This is just such a shame. There's no film forum. There's no Film Society of Lincoln Center. You know, there was
This
this
is
kind of very
somebody in
snooty,
LA talking.
like, my nose is up to all of you commercial Hollywood people kind of vibe, you know, to the people
Right.
from New York. And just, it's, since the pandemic really began, maybe in the few months before it began, you had the opening of the Draft House Cinema LA, which is, although is, mostly newer films, does some repertory program. You have the reopening of the New Beverly Cinema, owned by Quentin Tarantino, which is a rep house 90% of the time, showing some really eclectic stuff. Almost all of them in prints. I mean, everything they show is in 35. And then you have, the opening of the Academy Museum last month, which is opened with just the most dynamic programming. Not exactly what you would think would come from the Museum of Ampas, to have programs of Japanese animation and of the Ethiopian filmmaking of Heli Garima, or
It's kind of closer to the museum of the moving image than anything else. It sounds like.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been inspiring, and I think Ava DuVernay has really been the champion there of making sure that the programming is very inclusive upon its unveiling. And then you have Vidiots, the long attempts by Maggie McKay and her team to sort of reimagine a video store for the 21st century is going to include a working cinema that will also have a fairly strong repertory bent. So when you add up all of these things, and then the American Cinematheque, which had long been kind of the standard bearer for repertory screenings in Los Angeles, people were very afraid when they sold the Egyptian Theater to Netflix, and there was fear that their programming would lessen or something. They bought the Los Feliz 3, an old 3-screen baby multiplex on Vermont Avenue in Los Feliz, and they have converted it into a sort of European style repertory cinema. So I mean, literally every day they have different stuff. I think right now they have like a Melvin Van Peebles retrospective going. They had a Kiyoshi Kurosawa retrospective happening recently. They're doing a whole host of movies that are sort of movies about watching and voyeurism. That actually included one of my Amazon efforts, Mike Mohan's The Voyeurs. And so, yeah, it's just a golden time for
That's great news. I mean, it makes sense, especially with COVID. I mean, as far as throwing repertory, it's always going to be less expensive. One would, I assume, to show repertory when there's, and then you have less.
Let's hope. Yeah, let's hope it stays that way. I mean, with the conglomerates and the streamers buying everything, like Disney now controlling the Fox library, like Amazon controlling the MGM library. Let's hope that these libraries continue to be as accessible as they have been in the past, but that is certainly not
just merchandising opportunities only. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, but I do agree. What was the theater you mentioned? The that Netflix bought in LA?
The Egyptian.
The Egyptian, thank you. And then you have the Paris here, and I was worried about that, but actually, the programming at the Paris, in large part thanks to David Schwartz, I suppose. Mm-hmm. It looks fantastic. I mean, I'm only getting their newsletters. I mean, but wow, they really, thank goodness, it's almost like the expansion of the museum, the moving image, in a sense. Yeah. It's like
I mean, well, David's a great programmer, and I mean, why would you hire David unless you'd let him do his thing? So I'm glad that they have, and that place is thriving.
And is the same for the Egyptian, or is it?
Well, it's funny. I haven't been to the Egyptian since Netflix bought it, so I don't really know what they've been doing with it. But it's a great room, and I certainly look forward to returning to it, at some point soon.
Yeah. Good morning. I know I got up early.
Hey man, I sleep very little. I'm like a 5-hour a night person, so
Yeah, you got that muscle. You got that muscle sort of developed for having if you're going to a Sundance or a Cannes or something, you got to get up early and you got to operate on very little sleep. And
indeed, but it's that way now on a Saturday when I can sleep in. I don't know, the muscles too well developed is the problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it doesn't. You don't even have to. But also,
I don't know how to turn it off anymore. I'm like, where's the off button?
Yeah, exactly. And your mind starts reeling, and I understand. Well, you're making me. I really wish I was in Memphis today. That would be a nice day for it. But I'm going to make a real effort to get there next year finally, because I have not been to the Indy Memphis Festival, and I've been a longtime fan of the festival. And I was just listening to Miriam and who else was it? Just listened to them on a podcast that wasn't mine for shocking. But on and these guys had me on, and the same guys. This podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I'm going to bring it up here. I'm actually going to plug a podcast that's not mine on my show. Here it is, called Make It, the indie film podcast. And they had on Miriam, but she was, let me see if I can find, I'm not going to be able to probably find the last episode. This might get edited out, don't worry, but, here it is.
Hey man, I need heavy editing. Let's get real. Look.
No. I mean, I'm so exhausted. Knox Shelton.
Knox Shelton, okay.
Yeah, they did this show. It's called Make It. The guys are lovely guys, and they invited me on. They haven't aired that episode or dropped it yet, but I don't know why they invited me on. But I had a great time. Check out that Miriam on there, because they really give an opportunity to get into the weeds, and it's nice. Well, thank you. I mean, we talked about it's called We Want to See It. No, that's not what it's called. Say the name of the
I'd watch that.
I'd watch that.
Or new shingle.
Let me rephrase, so I sound somewhat professional. You got your new initiative with Shaka King called I'd Watch That.
Yeah.
Developing content for FX. It sounds like, right? That's the.
Well, we're developing content for the culture, my friend. But we do have a first look at FX and hope to do a lot of business with them.
They've embraced you guys and your initiative, and then so it's going to start there. But well, hopefully it'll be very fruitful. And I'd love to get Shaka. I tried to get him on, I think, for his last project or one of his last projects. Didn't happen.
Hardest working man in Hollywood, that guy,
but I was there at the beginning. You I was there for Newlyweds, man, in his living room on the night of his.
I mean, I feel like Shaka and I knew that we would be friends when I saw Newlyweds, and I might have had some hand in helping it win some prizes. Which I'd signed NDAs, so I can't tell you which. But I will say that at one of the award shows that spring, Shaka and I were there, and if you've seen Newlyweds and you've seen my movie Red Legs, you might glean that the makers of those two movies are pretty familiar with marijuana, and might have in fact been consuming marijuana at an award show behind the outdoor porta potties, and we may have in fact together encountered the most famous talk show host of our time who was using one of those porta potties while we were consuming the marijuana.
No, who would have been?
I mean, it's really, this is a one-word person. You know, this is one of those iconic people you can just refer to as one word, and everyone knows who they are. But regardless,
well, Merv is dead.
I love that Merv Griffin was the first person.
Like the one named guy, you know, Merv. There's no other Merv. There never will be another Merv, you know.
Well, I feel like some of your savvy viewers will connect the dots. But long story short, we were so shamed by being caught by this person who was revered not just by ourselves but by our mothers, that it was almost certain a life experience like that would forge a lasting bond. That and many other things have.
Damn it! It wasn't. I'm not going to guess. It would be.
I mean, this person's name was even a key joke in an Oscars opening.
I gotcha.
Segment.
Gotcha. Yeah, it might not even be a. See, you know, like being a guy. I directly thought of all the men who have been
right.
You know, famous.
Naturally. Yeah,
I had to.
The patriarchy is constantly.
I had to modify that. I got you. Yeah, I bought into the patriarchy completely.
Blame the patriarchy. It's just infected our brains. If only we could, you know, shrug it off.
Okay, but I would still think that particular individual would have never seen the inside of a porta potty in their lives.
I mean, us too. Like, it was such a magical. Like, no, like right. You even used the bathroom. You know, like it was, yeah.
Or this thing.
Now, to be fair, at that award show, they had really nice porta potties. I mean, they were really. It was like as nice a porta potty as you're ever going to see.
Okay, and I'm going to, but still enough so where you could. There was obviously it was outside, and you could smoke substances behind it. But right. That's a great anecdote, and I appreciate your sharing that. You probably got a bunch, so we're gonna have to do another one of these soon. Maybe we've kind of just rebooted this, because we were kind of doing it in another golden age, of like the New York Indie. It was like in the early part of the last decade, maybe about 10 years ago, that was going on in Brooklyn and New York City in general, and that there were even, theaters were thriving. They brought in a bunch of theaters, and also, and there were a lot of festivals going on. It was really, I thought really this rich time, So
I think it was a rich time too. It was also a great time for low budget distribution,
right.
And I feel like that's kind of gone away as well.
And these films were just still being reviewed in the New York Times too.
Right, I know.
Those days were over. Probably Red Legs was reviewed in the New York Times, is my guess.
There was a rave,
I think I remember that.
Soulis, thank you very much.
And even Owner's film was reviewed. Richard's Wedding was reviewed in the New York Times. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to let you get on with your day, I think, and but I do want to try to make more of an effort to have you on more frequently.
I'm happy to come on anytime. I always have a hot take to share.
Yeah.
And
I know I would love to get more.
And now that I'm no longer on the Bezos plantation, I can share them with free will.
Oh my gosh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be respectful, but I'm going to let it go. The next time we're going to take the gloves off. Well, that sounds complicated.
Yeah, I still have NDAs, man. So the degree wow. I will say this though, I do think that my next book, which I'm working on now, is a novel, but it is pulled from my own life.
Workaround. Yeah, it's a workaround. It's fiction. It's a work of fiction. So
my first book, shall we say? So maybe some of these, all that's done in darkness will come to light, my friend.
Wow, I'm looking forward.
Yeah, I am too. Well, this was a lovely time. Thank you for having me, Adam.
Thanks for having breakfast.
Thank you, Filmwax viewers and listeners. And onwards.
Okay, and say hi to the folks there, Miriam, and let her know she might get upset that I didn't invite her on, but I don't know. Maybe she.
I will lift a rib bone in your honor.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Very nice.
Take care, buddy.
You too.
Bye.